they threw their absolute best at me. First, Sam Seder came in here, and I thought we were going to have a nice, calm debate. And this dude came out looking for a fight. And I'll be totally honest, I've had time to debrief on everything.
Yeah.
I've watched both debates back now.
Yeah.
And I have to say, with all due respect, Sam, I think you made a giant fool of yourself, not condemning Hamas. Like, shame on you. How dare you try to run defense for them? What's wrong with you?
The Hamas.
What kind of insane purity testing have we done where Sam Seder, who's supposed to be the ethical, rational, reasonable one,
Smart.
smart as he's the guy, right? He's calling it to my show and saying Hamas did some good things and some bad things.
Yeah.
In response to October 7th. Are you kidding me, bro? Shame on you, dude. Well, how pathetic. I'm sorry. That shit is just out of line.
I was watching that and my jaw was open. Like I was shocked.
The vanguard will be there, sir.
Zach, do we want to take a look at what Ethan Klein has been up to?
Yes. Oh my God. The decline continues. The crash out of the century. Listen, we reviewed in depth the Ethan Klein Sam Seder exchange, and we watched and broadcast the entirety of the debate between Ethan and Hassan. One thing I will tell you is that during the Ethan and Sam Seder debate, all Ethan did was just kind of like nod along and agree with Sam. He did absolutely no debating of any kind, and he basically accepted Sam's framework at every turn. He let Sam walk him like a dog. It has only been in the aftermath, after he's heard from the Asmongold and Destiny stands, that he feels really gassed up, and he's changing his tune about how it all went down between him and Sam.
Yeah, so there was I agree with your characterization of that debate for about 95% of it. There was maybe two moments where Ethan kind of had a moment, right? There was one where Sam compared Israel to South Africa, and then Ethan was like, actually, that's not correct, and here's why. And some people on his side have clipped that and posted it as an example of him destroying Sam Seder.
South Africa is a very obvious example.
I think it's pretty obvious to most people. Yeah, it is. But for whatever reason, he kind of had a moment there that people think he did well in. And then there was also the moment where he pushed back on Sam, which was idiotic. But Sam was basically saying that the Israeli public does not care about the death and destruction of the Palestinians. And Ethan's big retort was, what do you mean? 500,000 people were just protesting for a ceasefire, even though they were really just protesting for the return of the hostages. Either way, those were the moments. And unfortunately, given the echo chambers that we all live in, the H3 audience, they probably just saw those clips, right? They just saw the clips that were selectively prepared for them to make it look as though Ethan had dominated that debate. And of course, that's going to get to Ethan too. And he's going to convince himself, oh, maybe Sam did embarrass himself. Maybe I did totally humiliate him. And then he's just going to run with that because it makes him sound good.
That's exactly what I think happened, was that whoever was his simp brigade that came through and got in his ear, the only people he decided to listen to were gassing him up, and they were completely deranged. But anyway, let's go ahead and hear from the horse's mouth. This very healthy and mentally sound man over here.
Week, they threw their absolute best at me. First, Sam Seder came in here, and I thought we were going to have a nice, calm debate. And this dude came out looking for a fight. And I'll be totally honest, I've had time to debrief on everything.
Yeah.
I've watched both debates back now.
Yeah.
And I have to say, with all due respect, Sam, I think you made a giant fucking fool of yourself, not condemning Hamas. Like, shame on you. How dare you try to run defense for them? What's wrong with you? He goes, Hamas has done some good and some bad. Really, Sam? Name the good shit Hamas has done. Give me a fucking break. Why do you have to be supporting Hamas to be a leftist?
Yeah, this guy will tell you all kinds of good things about Israel and the Israeli government, but he won't stop to think of himself as a hypocrite.
Yeah. And by the way, I know the moment in the fucking debate he's referencing. I actually really appreciated the level of nuance and courage that Sam was willing to put into his answer here. Because Ethan was like, do you condemn Hamas? He went full Piers Morgan. And Sam, you very easily could just say, yeah, of course, that's a horrific terrorist. Or Sam was like, you know what? Actually, I think if I lived in Gaza, I would be a member of Hamas. That's what Sam Seder's response to that question was. And it's actually again, an unexpected, but I think very courageous way to answer it. Because so many people, you live in the fucking first world and you're just like, oh, they're terrorists. What? But think about it, bro. Yeah, you would also be a fucking member of Hamas if your parents had been blown to smithereens by the IDF and your whole family's fucking lineage and history had been erased by decades and decades of ethnic fucking cleansing. And Sam's willing to understand that and empathize with the people of the Palestinian resistance. So I really appreciate that he went with that, even though he knew it would get clipped out of context. And even though he knew fucking disgraceful pieces of shit like Ethan Klein would use it against him to say, Sam Seder loves Hamas. Sam Seder can't even condemn Hamas. Like, it's so fucking stupid.
No, that's such a great point. And it's a point that a lot of people have made in other military conflicts, in which their government is doing actions that they do not agree with, right? We used it constantly to describe the war on terror. I remember Shane Smith, who's basically a right winger at this point. He used to be a based guy that founded Vice News. Now he's like leaned into the culture war shit and whatever, right? Like he's kind of irrelevant, but he would come out and say, listen, I've talked to all these kids. I've been to Pakistan. I've been to Afghanistan. I've been to, Iraq. I've been all over. I've been to Baghdad, right? And he would talk about how he talks to these kids and he's like, yeah, the United States killed my uncle. Like they killed my father. Like they killed my younger brother. And he was like, if the United States killed my uncle or brother, he was like, I know for a fact if I'm 17 years old, I'm signing up to go, kill the guys that killed my brother. Like I'm joining that brigade, especially when you've watched them destroy everything you've ever known. They've killed all the kids you grew up with. They've starved your family. They've made it so that your grandma and your grandpa can't get medicine as they age. They can't age with dignity. They're in a war-torn land. All these depravity. Of course, you're going to sign up for whoever is in town to resist that. It is only logical. And to deny that is to be a propagandist. It's to be a liar. And I totally agree with your characterization that it showed a lot of courage from Sam to empathize with those people at that level.
What kind of insane purity testing have we done where Sam Seder, who's supposed to be the ethical, rational, reasonable one,
smart
as he's the guy, right? He's calling into my fucking show and saying Hamas did some good things and some bad things.
Yeah.
In response to October 7th. Are you fucking kidding me, bro? And then the balls to sit here and be like, oh, you're the one weaponizing anti-Semitism.
This guy will tell you that Israel is cool because when he lived in Tel Aviv, he also saw some Palestinians on his way to work. Okay? That's a country that is doing an ethnic cleansing and a genocide by your own admissions, Ethan. Your double standard here and your hypocrisy here is absolutely insane. And I think it's really reflective of the level of delusion it takes to continue to support Israel.
Yeah. And also, just so you know, that's like saying, oh, America doesn't oppress undocumented people. I just saw one cleaning the toilet at the Hilton Hotel I stayed at last night. Like, that's literally what he's saying. The Palestinian people that exist in Israel are there to fucking build the buildings for slave labor and do a bunch of basically borderline slave labor to actually construct the society, which all the Israelis enjoy. That's what it is. It's not some beautiful breadbasket of diversity or whatever the fuck.
Fuck no.
To come here and say that to my face, bro, to defend Hassan, who says anybody at any time who's had positive feelings for Israel is not fit to fucking walk a dog. And you're going to sit here and say,
to be the dog catcher. You're not even fit to cite someone accurately.
I'm anti-Semitic. Shame on you, dude. Well, how pathetic. I'm sorry. That shit is just out of line.
I was watching that and my jaw was open.
What about, where was your jaw when your own husband called you a terrorist, woman? Where was your jaw then? Okay.
Like I was shocked.
I got a lot of messages from people who I know in real life, people online who are, a lot of people are fans of Sam, right?
Yeah.
And I was one of them. I don't think I call myself a fan. I have no respect for him unless he acknowledges that Hamas. Sam, I did.
Unless he condemns Hamas. If you can't condemn Hamas, no.
So fucking stupid to act like, oh my God. And again, it's like one thing with Hassan. I know these guys have so much like personal petty drama, and Ethan really blames the backlash he's received on Hassan. It's still not at all justified. It's still an outrageous fucking slanderous smear of Hassan. But to do this to Sam Seder, someone who has no fucking relationship with you, no history with your community, someone who you can't even pretend has like sent their fans to harass you. Because that's this whole thing with Hassan. Oh, Hassan has sent his fans to harass me. He doesn't care about the anti-Semitism that's present in his community, which again is total bullshit. But you couldn't even pretend to say that about Sam Seder and the Majority Report. Are you fucking kidding me? Just because they don't repeat literal Zionist propaganda on their show 24/7, you're going to call them anti-Semites? This is the most disgusting smear I've ever fucking watched.
And it's also just like, I'm sorry, I mean this in the least gendered way possible. This is a major bitch move. You had this guy in dialogue with you 2 days ago, and you better have said this shit before or during your conversation. But the weakest shit ever is to turn around and start saying shit that you did not include in your debate, lines that you've been fed by a bunch of other people online post-talk, things you wish you could have said, and then rewriting history. Like, yeah, he doesn't want any more of this. More of what, dude? You just nodded along and agreed with the guy. He basically led you with a trail of breadcrumbs. Okay, my guy? That was what happened. We all watched it. You can't rewrite history. You streamed it to your own channel. Now you're just talking shit from after the game's over. It's like, we really put some yards on him, man. This guy sucks. He was cheating. It's like you didn't raise a single complaint while the game was going on.
Yeah, crazy.
Demand. I would like a segment from you to describe all the good Hamas has done, and I don't want to hear this bullshit of like, oh, they started as a charity. Okay, since then.
Oh my God, you literally said a fucking week ago that you can't wait to go back to Israel because of how beautiful and diverse it is. A country that you then, in a debate 2 days ago, admitted was run by terrorists and who has an army that consists of terrorists, the IDF, which your wife also was part of, but apparently she wasn't one of those terrorists. She just didn't know what was going on. So how the fuck can Sam Seder's comments not be considered in the same way that your comments about Israel have been? Like, we all can admit that this is a nuanced situation. You're on the record saying that Israel is a beautiful, diverse country that happens to be run by terrorists. But, Sam Seder can't admit that if he was a member there, if he was born in Palestine, he probably would have joined Hamas while also obviously being critical of aspects of their leadership or militants. Like, what are we, just children? This literally feels like we're back in the Bush era. And if you even said anything remotely to try to understand or empathize with like the fucking, people in Iraq or the Middle East or something, you're a terrorist. Oh, you think America's even remotely, their role in the Middle East is questionable? You're a terrorist. You're a sympathizer of fucking terrorism. That's what this feels like to me. And it's just like, what's even the point of having a debate if you're not interested in discussing the nuances of these issues?
Yeah, I mean, after this, I don't think anybody should debate Ethan. I mean, if there was maybe, in hindsight, I kind of agree with your analysis, which is that Hassan should have just fucking never engaged with him in the first place. Now that it's already been done and it's been proven, okay, he is a child. He cannot engage with you as an adult. He doesn't have any of his own real deep convictions other than like a boyish, childlike defense of Israel, this romantic version of a place that's doing a genocide and an ethnic cleansing. That's his only firm value. Not worth engaging with, not worth talking to.
Also, Boxy Brown, the only reason fucking Israel is a nation and Palestine isn't is because of the terrorism of Israel. They're the ones that terrorized Palestinians out of fucking existence and genocided their entire people and stole all their land. So yeah, the reason why Palestine isn't a country is because of the terrorism of Israel.
Yeah, also we could bring up all the terrorism the United States has done, and people talk about good shit that we do all the time.
I mean, yeah, Israel basically is the United States.
Exactly.
They're like the 51st state, glorified military base, piece of shit fucking fake country.
Yeah, and even still, our own piece of shit fake country has done a lot of its own terrorism throughout the generations and generations, and that's where Ethan records from. It's where he's very happy to call home, right? The reality is that Hamas is the government of Palestine, right? And in the same way that our own government does horrible shit that we don't agree with, obviously that's true of all governments lie, right, is what the quote goes, but they also probably resist the occupation and genocide, which is something that people are going to need and desperately cling to during their own ethnic cleansing and destruction. So the fact that you can't put two and two together and have an honest conversation about that means that you're probably not worth engaging with.
Also, fucking Hamas was elected to leadership in 2005 when most of the people currently alive in Palestine weren't even fucking eligible to vote. Over 50% of the population is children. So most of the people there didn't even vote for Hamas, let alone were even alive during that election. An election, by the way, which Hamas didn't even win the majority in. They won a plurality, from what I understand. So if there was actually an election today where the people of Palestine were able to vote in a fair and free election with a variety of options, there's a good chance they wouldn't re-elect Hamas. There's a very good chance they wouldn't, yet they get punished for the actions of this governmental military organization, whatever you want to call it anyway. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir.